upendo tu à travers nos petits moyens yenye tuko nayo na uwezo wetu kidogo. Tulisema tusikule shipeke tuweke wa miguu. Nikiripoti kutoka hapa Goma, province Nord Kivu, ambako tuko na madifikulte ya vita jour au jour ya M23 na FARDC. Niko hapa chef d'équipe Monsieur Samuel Samson. Merci.
It was clear by the end of the day that their need for sustained support is immense. Goma, a haven in a region of crisis. Goma is a bustling city nestled in the eastern DRC, near the Rwandan border and under the looming presence of the Nyiragongo volcano. For decades, it has been a refuge for thousands fleeing violence and conflict in the region. Armed groups, competing for resources and control, have driven millions from their homes. In this chaos, Goma stands as both a sanctuary and a symbol of struggle. Refugee camps like Kanyarukinia, located on Goma's outskirts, are makeshift shelters for displaced families. These camps emerge overnight, transforming open fields into sprawling hubs of tarpaulins, sticks, and salvaged materials. Life in these conditions is harsh, but it offers safety compared to the violence many have fled. The day that brought smiles. As we entered the refugee camp on Christmas morning, the scene was sobering. Families huddled in small, cramped shelters, trying to ward off the morning chill. Children, barefoot and wearing torn clothes, greeted us with curiosity. We had brought supplies, food, water, small toys, and warm clothing to distribute among them. The joy on their faces as we handed out these modest gifts was indescribable. A little boy held onto a blanket like it was a treasure. A mother's tearful gratitude for a bag of rice reminded us how essential these basics are to survival. But it wasn't just about the material gifts. The children's laughter as they played games and listened to stories made the day magical. A simple moment of shared humanity, a Christmas carol sung together under the open sky, brought an incredible sense of connection. Daily struggles in refugee life. While Christmas brought a brief reprieve, the reality of daily life for refugees in Goma is daunting. Basic needs like food, water, and healthcare are in constant short supply. Children often miss out on education, with few schools or teachers available. Malnutrition is rampant, and diseases spread easily due to poor sanitation and overcrowding. Despite these challenges, the refugees display an incredible capacity for resilience. Small markets spread up within the camps, where people trade goods and services. These activities not only sustain them, but also restore a sense of normalcy and dignity. Hope, resilience, and community. One of the most striking aspects of the refugees' lives is their unshakable spirit. They come together to form a community, supporting one another through shared research and solidarity. Elders pass down cultural traditions through songs, dances, and stories, preserving their identity amid uncertainty.
Utaongeza kidogo sauti baada na kusikia. Nani? Unaona watu wasaba?
Niko na watoto wasaba.
Okay. Na bwana wako yuko wapi?
Bwana wangu hapa.
Yuko tu na hapa mkanda. Pole sana. Kisi tulisema shie tuko ni kama vile ni foundation naweza sema tunaitwa African Voice of Hazard. Maana tunahusika na kuchangia na bandugu, bandugu wenye walipata matatizo kama hii ya vita, na sana sana usi batoto wenye biko bayatima na wenye wanapata mashida ya vita hivi.
Na yatima nazo ziko.
Ndio kusema tulisema tukie tuwaone leo kwa okazio ya Noel, lakini tunaprefere kufanya ya mingi kutokana na uwezo wetu kisi Mungu atatusaidia. Tuko fasi yote mu Afrika tunaingiaga mafasi za mingi sana, na hii ni parmi groupe yenye inapatikana hapa Goma ya African of Voice, African Voice ya Azad. Ndio tukasema leo tuje tuwaone. Ndio tunaprefere hata kubona ne tunaweza kia watembelea na kuwasalimia tena. Itatokana na uwezo wetu. Pole sana kabisa na majukumu mko mnapitia, tuko pamoja kabisa. Mungu awabariki, tunashukuru sana.
The true meaning of the season, compassion, generosity, and connection. While we brought a small measure of joy, we left with a profound sense of purpose. an ongoing commitment. The refugees of Goma need more than a day of celebration, they need ongoing support. As we move forward, we pledge to raise awareness about their plight and advocate for solutions that restore their dignity and hope. This Christmas, let us all remember that no act of kindness is too small. Together, we can help create a future where no one is forced to spend their holidays, or their lives, in the uncertainty of a refugee camp. Goma's refugees have shown us that even in the darkest times, there is light, and even in the greatest hardship, there is hope. Meeting the refugees in Goma, conversations of resilience and hope. As our team arrived in Goma, the refugee camp was bustling with life, despite the challenges. We were greeted with smiles and curious eyes as the refugees gathered, eager to meet us. We had come with food, water, and essential supplies, but what we brought most importantly was our time and attention. The first moments were quiet. The refugees, who had experienced so much pain and loss, took a moment to absorb the presence of outsiders. But as we began to interact, the barriers slowly began to break down, and what followed was a conversation filled with stories of resilience, sorrow, hope, and strength. The stories we heard. A woman in her 30s, wearing a faded yellow scarf, approached me. Her eyes were warm but weary. She introduced herself as Amina, a mother of 3. "I was forced to leave my home," she said softly, her voice trembling. "Our village was attacked, and we had no choice but to flee. My children were scared, but I told them we had to keep walking, keep moving forward, for safety." Amina's story echoed a familiar theme we heard from many others: violence, displacement, and the desperate search for safety. Yet, despite all that they had endured, the refugees held on to a remarkable sense of hope. "We are alive. We have each other," Amina continued. "And for that, we are grateful." The children and their dreams. Among the crowd, a group of children was playing with makeshift toys, their laughter a refreshing sound amidst the chaos. I approached them and sat down, eager to hear what they thought of their current lives. A young boy named Kazi, no older than 10, spoke up. "I dream of being a teacher one day," he said with a shy smile. "I want to help my people. I want to go back to school. My family lost everything, but I haven't lost my dreams." His words struck me deeply. Even in the midst of displacement, these children were holding on to dreams for a better future, something many adults in the camp believed was slipping further away with each passing day. The elder's perspective. Later, we met an elderly man named Bwana, who had seen decades of hardship in his life. He sat in the shade of a tree, his face weathered but wise. "Life here is difficult," he said. "We live in fear, not knowing what tomorrow will bring. But the most painful part is seeing our children grow up in these conditions. They don't know peace. But still, we try to teach them to never lose hope." Bwana's words highlighted the devastating impact of long-term displacement. For many of these families, the future seemed uncertain, but their deep-rooted connection to their culture and their desire for a better life kept them going. The need for help. Throughout the day, the conversations always circled back to the same theme: survival. The refugees spoke of their daily struggles, how difficult it was to find enough food, how diseases spread easily in overcrowded camps, and how they felt cut off from the moment of giving, delivering aid to the refugees in Goma. After spending the day getting to know the refugees, hearing their stories, and understanding their struggles, it was finally time to distribute the aid we had brought for them. This was the moment we had been preparing for, the time to provide not just material help, but a message of hope, solidarity, and support. Preparing for the distribution. Our team had worked hard to gather and organize the supplies: food packages, clean water, hygiene kits, blankets, clothing, and some small toys for the children. We carefully sorted the items in anticipation of the distribution. The refugees had been waiting, and there was a sense of both excitement and uncertainty in the air. As we set up, the refugees gathered around, their faces showing a mixture of anticipation and hope. The children, in particular, were wide-eyed, eager to see what we had brought for them. The first step: sharing food and water. We began by distributing food and water. This was the most immediate need. Many of the families had gone without adequate food for days, and access to clean drinking water was limited. We handed out packets of rice, beans, and other essentials, ensuring each family received enough to get through the next few days. As the food was passed around, I saw the gratitude in the eyes of the refugees. The relief was palpable as mothers hugged their children, knowing that for a brief moment, their hunger would be eased. Providing hygiene kits and clothing. Next, we moved on to the hygiene kits, simple packages containing soap, toothpaste, sanitary pads, and other essentials. In refugee camps like those in Goma, sanitation is a critical issue, and these items were incredibly valuable in helping maintain basic hygiene and prevent disease. The refugees eagerly accepted the kits, especially the mothers who were focused on keeping their children healthy in such harsh conditions. We also handed out blankets and clothing, providing warmth to those who had been exposed to the elements for far too long. The children's joy. As we turned our attention to the children, the atmosphere lightened. We distributed toys, small dolls, balls, and puzzles, items that seemed simple but brought such joy. The children's faces lit up as they received their gifts. Many of them had never held a toy before, and this small gesture of kindness gave them something to smile about. A little girl came running up to me with a doll in her hands. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "This is the best gift I have ever received." Her words were a powerful reminder of the importance of offering not just survival, but moments of joy to those who have lost so much. A moment of connection. As the distribution continued, there was a sense of connection and community in the air. The refugees, though from different backgrounds and regions, shared a bond in their struggle. They were incredibly grateful for the assistance.
Basaba. Okay. Na sauti yako utaongeza kidogo sauti baada na kusikia. Nani? Unaona watu basaba?
Niko na watoto wa 7.
Okay. Na bwana wako yuko wapi?
Bwana wangu hapa.
Yuko tu na hapa mkambi. Okay. Pole sana. Kisi tulisema shie tuko ni kama vile ni foundation naweza sema tunaitwa African Voice of Hazard. Maana tunahusika na kuchangia na bandugu, manake bandugu wenye walipata matatizo kama hii ya vita, na sana sana usi batoto wenye biko bayatima na wenye wanapata mashida ya vita hivi.
Na yatima nazo ziko.
Ndio kusema tulisema tukie tuwaone leo kwa occasion ya Noel, lakini tunaprefere kufanya ya mingi kutokana na uwezo wetu kisi Mungu atatusaidia. Tuko fasi yote mwa Afrika. Mwa Afrika tunaingiaga mafasi za mingi sana. Na hii ni parmi groupe yenye inapatikana hapa Goma ya African of Voices, Afric Voice ya Azad. Ndio tukasema leo tukie tuwaone. Na tunaprefere hata kubona ne tunaweza kia watembelea na kuwasalimia tena. Betatokana na uwezo wetu. Pole sana kabisa na majukumu mko mnapitia, me tuko pamoja kabisa. Sawa.
Mungu awabariki, tunashukuru sana.